Hello YouTube, I'm back. Sorry, I know I've been really behind providing you with an update, and I apologize for that. Truthfully, I didn't know how to update you. It's obvious now, after what I just said, that our second round of IVF was unsuccessful. Now, I didn't want to be that person who came in here, gave you false hope, and then ended up disappointing you. And I don't want you to feel that because I was unsuccessful that you would be unsuccessful. Because the fact is, we're all different and we all react differently to different protocols and different treatments. Now, what kind of information can I give you? We had a successful embryo transfer. They transferred what appeared to be a normal embryo. It was a grade level 3 AB, so it had some fragmentation, but it made it all the way to blast, and we were able to transfer that. Everything seemed very normal. Now, I was at the time going through the oil injections. My husband was injecting me with those in my behind area, and that was god awful. My advice to you, if you are going to be put on any form of progesterone, do yourself a favor and make sure that your endocrinologist is absolutely certain that that is something you really do require, because I had a really difficult time with that. There were days where I had a hard time walking. I had to hold on to my bedpost and walls just to get by. My bottom lumped up because the oil is so thick. It like lumped up, and I did everything that you could think of. I applied heat before. I walked around. I tried to keep myself, my bottom side elevated. I mean, you name it. Like I rubbed it in, did a massage before and after. I did everything I could, and it was just brutal. But the moral of the story is my last round was also unsuccessful. Now, as you know, or if you can recall, my diagnosis was that I have a diminished ovarian reserve, which means that I don't produce a normal range of follicles. Women my age normally can produce 15 to 20 follicles, and I average about 9. This last round was good. I averaged 11 before I started any of the injections, but the thing is, not every follicle has an egg, right? So my point of the matter is that because my numbers are so low, and because not every embryo results in pregnancy, and because I only had one embryo to transfer, that really decreased the odds of me being successful. Personally, I think I did way too much at once. I did 8 months worth of various forms of fertility treatments. I did 2 IUIs, I did 2 IVFs, and they were all back to back. Hormones, my body was all out of whack and everything. So I recommend that if you happen to find yourself faced with an unsuccessful cycle, give yourself a good break. I know the doctors say that you only require 3 months for your ovaries to heal so that you can go back for another retrieval, but honestly, do yourself a favor and take a longer amount of time, because everybody is different and every protocol is different and everybody reacts differently. So give yourself the time to really heal. And it's not just physical healing, it's emotional healing, psychological healing. I had a very, very difficult time with this failed cycle, emotionally and psychologically, and I became very depressed because we want nothing more than to have a child of our own, and I want to be able to do this, and it didn't work out. And it's financially draining. It's so much of those things. So that's another reason why it took me so long to come on here. I was really not in a good place, and so I I had a friend's wedding. I went to Jamaica. I was in her wedding party again, and I really took that time for myself and for, my husband and I really needed that time away. And while I was away, I put a lot of things into perspective over, the days and weeks leading up to that vacation after my failed cycle. I had a lot of support from family and from friends who provided me with a lot of advice, really good advice. And the one thing I think that also helped me get back to me, just a little tidbit, was when I was away, I wrote down all of my feelings on a piece of paper, everything that I wanted to let go of, and I just tossed it into the ocean, and I just let it go. So when I came back, I felt like myself. I felt rejuvenated. I read a lot of books on positive thinking, on being open to receiving miracles, not necessarily religious miracles, but the miracles of the ordinary every single day, and just and that also really helped. So I have a lot of people to thank, and thank you, all of you, for all of your support. And I know you've been so patient and eager to find out what the status update was. Now, there is something else that I don't know if you've heard of yet. It's only available in 4 countries. In Canada, where I live, Toronto primarily, there are 2 clinics who were the first ones to pilot this. Now, I have an appointment on May 29th just to discuss options at another clinic. I had my endocrinologist, who was amazing, refer me to somebody else for a second opinion. And basically, there is this company, you can Google it, it's called OvaScience. They're called OvaScience, and they've come up with something called Augment. It is a treatment, a new fertility treatment that is a complete IVF breakthrough, the first breakthrough in, I think, a decade. So it's called Augment, and basically it's an ovarian biopsy, and they've discovered that a cure to infertility issue where it could be egg quality lies within your own egg PC cells, so which are immature egg cells found inside the protective lining of your ovary to supplement the existing mitochondria in your eggs, which is basically an energy boost. So if you've had embryos that stopped developing or arrested overnight, embryos that didn't fertilize, eggs that didn't fertilize, if you had embryos that didn't make it to blast, if you've had embryos that had fragmentation, you could be a potential candidate for this Augment. I know it's available in Canada, it's available in Dubai, and I can't quite remember the other 2 countries. But the first baby was born, the first Augment baby was born a week or 2 ago, and it's a normal baby. The good thing with Augment is they're not manipulating DNA, so and so far the results have been really good. There are 8 women who are pregnant from it. Now, OvaScience is also introducing another treatment by the end of 2015, and it's quite amazing. It's called OvaPrime, and basically with OvaPrime, the goal of it is to increase a low reserve. So women like me who have a diminished reserve, a low reserve, will now have an opportunity to have that reserve increased from another treatment. I don't know the details of that treatment. They haven't released it yet, but all I know is that it involves the egg PC cells as well. So going back to Augment, how Augment works is it's a supplement to your IVF protocol or treatment. So basically step 1 would be an ovarian biopsy where they take a sliver of your ovary and they go through and they pick out the mitochondria or egg PC cells from it. Then you go through step 2, which is your stimulation so that they can harvest your eggs. And then step 3 is where they take the sperm, the mitochondria, which was removed from your ovarian biopsy, and they insert that into the egg and watch them fertilize. So the idea of it is that they will hopefully all fertilize, as this is, like I said before, an energizer, like a natural energizer. And then they'll freeze the blasts, the embryos, treat your lining for a month, and then the following month they will do a transfer. So that's how Augment works. So look into it. If you live in Canada, there are 2 clinics in Toronto who offer that service. First Steps Fertility and TCART, TCART. So my appointment is May 29th, and I'm going to discuss my options and look into it and see if the doctor thinks that I would be a good candidate for this. Now, the other thing, if you live in Canada and you're researching IVF, the government is planning to cover 1 round of IVF. Apparently they're going to cover the procedure, so 1 round plus subsequent transfers that resulted out of that retrieval from that 1 round. I don't know that they're covering medication, but I mean, if they're covering the procedure, you know, that $8,000 to $10,000 right there. And then your transfers, which is about another $1,000 and a bit. I can't quite remember the final number. So if IVF by Augment is something that we decide with the doctor that we'd like to pursue and try, we'll be doing that sometime in the 2016 year. We're going to wait for the government to cover that 1 round. So there's my update. I wish you all the best. I really do. Stay strong, stay positive. Like I said, just because it didn't work for me yet, just because I haven't been successful in conceiving yet, doesn't mean that you won't. So please don't take that to heart. And once again, thank you so much for all of your support and for being so patient with me. Baby Dust, take care.